We crave the extraordinary. We devour stories of daring heists, elaborate cons, and lives lived on the edge. But what happens when the line between fact and fiction blurs? What happens when the unbelievable bleeds into our everyday reality? This is the story of Hitman, a film that takes us into the shadowy world of contract killing, and the man at its center, Gary Johnson. Gary Johnson is not your typical Hollywood hero. He's an ordinary guy thrust into an extraordinary situation. His story is a captivating blend of suspense, humor, and romance, all set against the backdrop of a life turned upside down. It's a story that makes us question our own perceptions of truth and the lengths we would go to protect ourselves and those we love. Hitman isn't just a film. It's a commentary on the stories we tell ourselves and the power of belief. It's about the seductive nature of secrets and the weight of living a double life. As we delve into Gary's world, we're forced to confront uncomfortable truths about identity, deception, and the fine line between right and wrong. The film's brilliance lies in its ability to make us question everything we see. Is Gary a cold-blooded killer or a victim of circumstance? Is he a master manipulator or a pawn in a larger game? The answer, like most things in life, is far more complicated than it seems. Gary Johnson is, by all accounts, an average guy. He lives in a modest suburban home, works a 9-to-5 job he doesn't particularly love, and blends seamlessly into the background of life. But beneath the surface of his ordinary existence lies a secret, one that will propel him into a world of danger, intrigue, and unexpected self-discovery. Gary's journey begins with a simple desire for something more. Stuck in a rut, he stumbles upon an opportunity to inject some excitement into his mundane life. He creates an online persona, a hitman for hire, never truly believing anyone would take him seriously. To his astonishment, the requests start pouring in. At first, it's just a game, a way to escape the monotony of his everyday existence. He crafts elaborate stories, spins tales of daring escapes and high-stakes missions, all from the comfort of his computer screen. He becomes a master of deception, crafting a persona so convincing that even he starts to blur the lines between reality and the fantasy he's created. However, Gary's carefully constructed world is about to collide with reality in a way he never could have anticipated. As his online persona gains notoriety, he attracts the attention of someone who isn't playing games. Suddenly, Gary finds himself in over his head, caught in a web of lies he's spun, unsure who to trust or how to escape the consequences of his own creation. Gary's transformation from mild-mannered everyman to a convincing hitman is a testament to the power of the internet. Behind the anonymity of a screen, he's able to craft a persona both alluring and terrifying. He studies the language of the criminal underworld, the subtle cues, the implied threats, and the unspoken code of conduct. He builds a digital fortress around his true identity, using aliases, VPNs, and encrypted messaging apps. He becomes a ghost in the machine, leaving no trace of his real self. His clients, a motley crew of desperate individuals seeking their own brand of justice, are none the wiser. Gary's early assignments are relatively harmless. He's hired to deliver veiled threats, spread disinformation, or simply disappear from the digital grid. He uses his wit and ingenuity to create the illusion of danger, crafting elaborate scenarios that leave his clients satisfied, if not a little terrified. But as his reputation grows, so too does the danger. The requests become more sinister, the stakes higher. He's asked to orchestrate disappearances, to silence witnesses, to instill fear in those who cross his path. Gary finds himself walking a tightrope, balancing the thrill of the con with the very real consequences of his actions. The consequences of Gary's double life begin to bleed into his everyday existence. The lines between his online persona and his true self become increasingly blurred. He's haunted by nightmares, his days plagued by paranoia. The fear he once simulated for his clients now becomes a constant companion. His relationships begin to suffer. He withdraws from friends and family, pushing away those closest to him. He's terrified of exposing them to the danger he's brought into his life. His once ordinary world is now tainted with the fear of discovery. Gary's work life is equally affected. His once mundane job now feels like a cruel joke, a constant reminder of the double life he leads. He's distracted, jumpy, unable to focus on anything but the potential fallout from his online activities. His carefully constructed world begins to crumble around him. The thrill of the con fades, replaced by a gnawing sense of dread. He realizes he's in too deep, that the life he's created is spiraling out of control. Just when Gary feels the walls closing in, a glimmer of light enters his life. He meets Sarah, a woman who is everything he is not: open, compassionate, and completely unaware of the dangerous game he's playing. Their connection is immediate, a shared spark of understanding in a world that suddenly feels very dark. Sarah becomes Gary's anchor, a tether to the life he so desperately wants to reclaim. She represents normalcy, a world outside the shadows he inhabits, but his secret weighs heavily on him, threatening to destroy the fragile bond they've built. He's torn between his desire to protect her from the truth and the longing to share his burden with someone, anyone, who might understand. The fear of losing her is palpable, a constant reminder of the high stakes of his deception. Their relationship is a delicate dance, a constant push and pull between honesty and deceit. Gary knows he can't keep up the charade forever, that the truth will eventually surface. The question is, will their love be strong enough to weather the storm? Living a double life takes its toll on Gary. The constant need for secrecy erodes his sense of self. He begins to question his own morality, wondering where the line exists between right and wrong in this world he's created. The guilt of his deceptions weighs heavily on him. He struggles to reconcile the man he pretends to be with the person he thought he was. The lines become blurred, his moral compass spinning wildly in the face of his actions. He seeks solace in the anonymity of the internet, finding comfort in online forums and support groups for those living double lives. He finds a strange sense of community among these digital strangers, a shared understanding of the unique challenges they face. But even in this virtual world, Gary cannot escape the consequences of his choices. The internet, once his shield, now feels like a prison, a constant reminder of the lies he's told and the life he's built on a foundation of deceit. The weight of Gary's deception becomes unbearable. The walls he so carefully erected begin to crumble. The people he's wronged, both online and in his real life, begin to close in. He realizes that the only way to escape the consequences of his actions is to face them head-on. He confides in Sarah, revealing the truth about his double life. Her reaction is not what he expects. She's not angry, but heartbroken. She sees the fear in his eyes, the desperation in his voice. She recognizes the man she loves trapped beneath the weight of his lies. With Sarah's support, Gary resolves to make amends. He contacts the authorities, confessing his involvement in the online world of contract killing. He offers his full cooperation, providing valuable insights into the workings of this hidden underworld. His confession sends shockwaves through the online community he once inhabited. His clients, once hidden behind the veil of anonymity, are exposed. The illusion of safety and secrecy is shattered, leaving a trail of broken lives and shattered trust in its wake. The consequences of Gary's actions are far-reaching. His story becomes a cautionary tale, a stark reminder of the dangers of living a double life in the digital age. The media seizes upon his story, portraying him as both a criminal mastermind and a cautionary tale. Gary faces legal repercussions for his actions, though his cooperation with authorities and genuine remorse earn him leniency. He serves a reduced sentence, during which he dedicates himself to atoning for his past mistakes. His relationship with Sarah survives, their bond strengthened by their shared ordeal. They rebuild their lives together, piece by piece, finding solace in their commitment to honesty and transparency. Gary emerges from the experience a changed man. He uses his story to educate others about the dangers of the internet, particularly for vulnerable individuals susceptible to the allure of online personas and the false sense of security they provide. Gary Johnson's story, while fictional, reflects a very real phenomenon in the digital age. The internet, with its promise of anonymity and reinvention, has blurred the lines between our online and offline lives. It's a place where we can be anyone, anything we desire, free from the constraints of our real-world identities. But this freedom comes at a price. The anonymity of the internet can be a double-edged sword, allowing us to explore different facets of ourselves, while also enabling us to engage in behaviors we might never consider in our offline lives. The story of Hitman serves as a cautionary tale, reminding us that our online actions have real-world consequences. It highlights the importance of online responsibility and the need for critical thinking in an age where information spreads at an unprecedented rate. Ultimately, Hitman is a story about identity, deception, and the seductive power of the internet. It's a story that resonates with our deepest fears and desires, reminding us that the line between reality and fiction is often thinner than we'd like to believe. And perhaps it's a story that makes us question the masks we all wear in the digital age.